Welcome to our Tuesday comic preview show. We're going to talk about some of the stuff we got to read this week. DC Comics are on sale today on Tuesdays, and everything else will be released tomorrow. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. We got local comic shop day titles, Future State, just lots of good stuff this week on Thanksgiving week. So come fill your breakup with this stuff. So let's get started.
Yep, and we have read these books that you see in front of you. We're going to be doing spoiler-free reviews, so that way you can hear, what we thought of it and something about the book, but at the same time, we don't ruin the experience for you.
Yeah, no, you don't have to click away real fast when we just talk about your favorite one.
Exactly.
Well, let's start with something that we can't possibly spoil.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. This book kind of exists to not spoil, but inform.
Inform, yeah.
So, DC has sent out this week these free copies of, what are they calling it? It's just Future State DC Nation Presents. This is a guide. Let me open up so you kind of see. We've got some art in there. To all of the big stuff coming in January and February from DC with Future State, their 2-month event with all new titles, new characters, new creations, creative teams. So we have these. These are really cool, especially if you have a lot of questions about what Future State is, what books you want to be reading, about the characters. This answers a lot of those questions. I've pretty much read this entire thing now. It gives great descriptions of like the timeline, when, why this happens, all of that, without giving too much away. But this is going to be really important going forward. So you definitely want to stop in. You get one with any purchase. Just let us know you want to get a copy. They're going to be really, really sought after.
Yeah, no, when we first saw that wraparound, so we saw it as more just an image before this came out. You and I were talking about who's that character, who's that character, and who's that. And then you showed me today the interior has...
It has, here's who everyone is.
Nice.
It gives you like the silhouettes, and you can read down on there, and it says... there's going to be some big surprises about some of the characters. You're also going to definitely find out about a lot of these books are going to be not really anthologies, but they're going to be a little thicker and have multiple stories in them. Find out where, if you want to read about maybe the new Wonder Woman, who's going to be already getting her own, already going to be getting her own TV show, where which book she is going to appear in. So very important.
And you point out there are a couple characters that are brand new as well.
Yes, some brand new characters. Really cool. And so you can check that out and then turn around and let us know which of the books you're interested in. So in January, you won't be missing out on some of the, I think, sleeper hits.
Yeah, I think way sleeper hits. Because when DC announced this, I think it took everyone by surprise. So there was a little bit of resistance. Like, wait, you're stopping all the books and moving years into the future to tell stories. But I think now that it has sit in people's minds and we see these are going to be new writers and artists working on a lot of these with brand new characters, I mean, I'm way interested.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're not just switching to it and not going back, but just a little like sort of a side to take you into the future, the canon future of DC Comics. I think that's incredible.
Yep. So stop in. Available now. Pick up your copy of DC Future State. DC Nation Presents.
Woohoo!
Okay, so let's talk a little bit of Marvel. I read the brand new Power Pack book this week. So Power Pack, they've been around since the 70s. And as with things in fiction, it takes a while for you to grow up. So, they're no longer like, 5 to 9 years old. Now they range. They're teenagers. I don't think they actually said what age they were all specifically in this when I read it. But it seems like the eldest one is at least like 16 years old now. It's pretty cool. It starts out where they find that the youngest had done her own little comic book, in crayon about their history. So you get to read several panels that she wrote as a little kid on how they got their powers and all that.
That's helpful.
It was a really enjoyable way to brush up because, I don't think I've read this stuff in ages. I wasn't around this in the, 70s when they started, but I know I've come across Power Pack books and read them. So this is a mini series. It's going to be 5 issues, and the writer said he was really excited because you could do a lot in mini series you can't with ongoing. You can plot out a real story arc that has a climax and an ending. You don't have
Yeah.
to keep people on the hook. So that number 1 is due out tomorrow. They go up against an old villain of theirs called the Boogeyman, and his shtick is he eats orphans.
Horrible.
Yes, yeah, he eats orphans. So there are some variants. Here is the Marvel Zombies variant. And then we have the 1 in 25 Leon variant for just $15. We only have one of these for people who are Pullbox subscribers. If you're not, you can still enjoy the nice art and the nice covers. This is the 1 in 25 Petrovich, also just for $15.
And yeah, if you guys are just now joining us, we do free pull list subscriptions, which means you don't have to give us any gold, doubloons.
No dough up front.
Yeah.
No ducats.
But anyway, even if we ship all across the country, so if you do want to set up anything with us, we will be more than happy to hook you up. You can start this week if you see anything you like here. What do you got, Andy?
Well, after I've talked about Future State, I will talk about, let's go with the other history of the DC Universe. So I feel like they've been talking about this for quite a while. Really
It's a
big,
great cover, too.
important book. So this is a look at the DC Universe, specifically in this issue from Black Lightning standpoint. I think each issue is going to kind of take a different viewpoint of a character that maybe didn't have the spotlight on them for that time. So this is really interesting. So back I think maybe the 70s or the 80s, they did the history of the DC Universe. And it was done in this very similar format that's not a comic, but kind of a... I don't even know what you call it.
Sort of a collage mixed media.
Yeah, it's a
magazine style almost.
Yeah, so you've got some images, some prose, everything from the perspective of Black Lightning, what it meant to, when he had his powers, but the first time he saw Jon Stewart show up and join the Justice League or whatever, what did that mean to him being black? And seeing, when he first joined the Outsiders, what that team meant to him and everything. Very deep, very dense read, as you can tell with all of the text. But I feel like it's this format for a reason. It's got a big story to tell. I believe is it 5 issues?
I'm not
4 or
certain,
5
actually,
issues.
yeah.
So really interesting, especially if you're a big comics fan of like the DC history and universe, to kind of read it from this different perspective. What did Black Lightning think when he first saw Superman and everything? It's a question I didn't think I needed answer, but then when he sees him, he has some really interesting thoughts about Superman and stuff like that. So really cool. And then we have this great variant cover. And Black Lightning is such a cool character anyways. It's cool to hear a lot from him. And then we have only one. This is a 1 in 25 gold variant for $35.
Yeah, it's cool. The comics have been going so long they can do these historical books on
Yeah.
them, and they really are historical at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure some of the stuff he's talking about is stuff before like any of us were even alive.
Yep.
And real quick, I'll give you a sneak preview of what we're going to talk about a little later, which is the local comic shop day exclusive covers. And there is one for Other History of the DC Universe. So this is the local black and white local comic shop day variant, and this is just the cover price of $6.99. So we're just doing cover price on all of our local comic shop day titles. Some people get confused because they're not freebies, but they're also not super expensive.
Yeah.
We're just keeping them covered, but I'll talk more about that later. In the meantime,
What did you read?
About a new one I read from Vault Comics, and this is I Walk with Monsters. This is actually called, it's under Vault's Nightfall umbrella, which is comics they release in the fall.
Oh.
And if you live in Chattanooga, it might sound reminiscent of a concert series that we had here. But there's no motorcyclists in this comic, I assure you. Anyway, I Walk with Monsters is a story about the monsters. It's definitely a kind of a metaphorical story, but the monsters that are in the real world that exist within certain people, and some monsters that help ward off those nasty people. So I don't want to give too much away, but it is heavily metaphorical for, like I said, monsters, not just the ugly ones that people need to slay or befriend. Anyway,
It's deep. It's really deep.
this is just the cover price. Let's see, I got some variants here. And I was going to say something else, but I forgot. Oh, yes, it's adult. There is cursing on the first few pages. This is not a kid's story at all. This is definitely an adult comic as far as language goes.
My word.
This is the B cover for I Walk with Monsters.
It's a Francavilla cover.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the C cover. This is the 1 in 15 Andolfo variant for $15. This is the 1 in 30 Mirka Andolfo cover. It is foil. Hopefully you can see that. Kind of dark in here, but it's all foilified for $25. And then lastly, the 1 per store Andolfo Virgin variant for $35. So new from Vault in their Nightfall series. Okay.
All right, so I see Jay is on asking for the Donatello already. We'll get that.
Yeah,
we'll get that for you. I'm going to talk right now about this Batman Superman number 14. So who is that on the cover? Is that Batman or is that Superman?
My eyes can't figure it out. They just go back and forth.
In a way, it is both of them. So this issue, although it is part of a story arc, it's sort of towards the end of a story arc, it is a very good one-shot to read. Because basically Batman and Superman have created a robot. They did this last issue. You don't see the robot much though. And it is a composite form of them. They've decided, you know what, maybe if we make something that's both of us, it'll do a better job, you know, because we have disagreements and all this. Well, I love that premise. Anyway, guess what? The robot goes crazy. Can you believe it? And why he goes crazy is because he determines he needs to know how villains think to stop them. And so what's the best way to know how villains think? Well, you got to go become one.
That seems like that came from Batman's side of the brain.
Yeah.
So he goes to Earth to become a villain. Batman and Superman have to go stop him. It's pretty funny. It's got some Matrix-y, you know, the net stuff where Batman goes in his brain, and it's a very good one shot, and it leaves it where maybe this composite Batman Superman robot might be back in the future. Mm-hmm. So if that story sounds cool to you, we have this. It doesn't matter if you've read the others. This is a great one shot.
Someone noted that we're seeing the hatless Andy variant today.
You know, I thought about that. My hat is here, but I need a haircut. I need a haircut, and I just don't care. Okay, so next up, from my hatless self, we have Dark Knight's Death Metal, the multiverse that laughs. Ha ha ha. So, if you've been following the Dark Knight's Death Metal stuff, you know they've been doing some different one-shots. Like we had the Lobo one, the Extreme. This is very much in the same vein. In that one, you had Lobo kind of telling some stories. In this one, you have the Robin King sitting down and doing that classic, oh, I didn't see you come in. Well, let me spin you a yarn. But of course, the Robin King, all his stories just end very poorly. They're very dark. They're very brutal. But what I really liked about this one is it's very lighthearted. It's dark, but you know, you can see on the cover there's the super pets, zombified super pets and everything.
Yeah, I was really interested to read that story.
So that one's actually by Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti,
That's
and I believe John Timms too. Like the whole team that worked on Harley Quinn does that story. But what I thought was really cool too is there is a story that involves Green Arrow, who we've not seen Green Arrow in a long time. We have a lot of people who come in and be like, "Hey, is Green Arrow in anything?" Well, he is in this. Cool to see him in this metal, dark multiverse world. He looks a little rough for wear. There is also the main kind of overarching story of Robin King telling these stories is written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion. So you've got, powerhouse bookends on it. You see a bunch of other dark versions of characters. Even one of them's like, what if Aquaman was more fish than man? And you just had this really ugly looking Aquaman. So really fun stuff like that. But it's got 4 or 5 stories in it. But they're all really fun, dark, but with a lot of humor, like I said. So, yep, just the main cover for that one. And it is only $5.99. So
I picture if Aquaman was like a lot more fish than man, it would be funny. He like starts stinking if he's out of the water for too long.
Yeah.
His other Justice League members are like, "Oh man."
And when they say that, they mean his head looks like an octopus. So if that's your thing. But really fun, so definitely check that out. Even if you haven't been reading all of the tie-ins, I just think I love these one-shot things where you just get short 3 or 4-page stories that are a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them, but like with the Alex Ross timeless covers, we'll miss them when they're gone. This is letting writers tell stories that you're not going to read again.
Are just
for
insane.
Years.
They almost don't even care like what happens with this character after. Doesn't matter. They can blow up. We don't care. This is the only time you're going to see them. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, up next, we have one of my favorite things out lately, Department of Truth number 3. We still have number 1 and 2 variants available. If you guys keep in touch with comic news, you know that this recently got optioned, and according to the rumors, it has top A-list talent. So I don't know what that means. I'm picturing Brad Pitt.
That's our go-to.
Billy... You know what?
Pauly Shore.
I am not in touch.
Pauly Shore's bankrolling the whole thing. He's doing all the roles.
Pauly Shore, Mel Gibson in Department of Truth. And Nicolas Cage. Anyway, sorry. This is a really awesome story. It reminds me with issue 3, kind of Ice Cream Man. Only in that with Ice Cream Man, it's an anthology tale, and with each issue, it's a different story, a different character that you're focusing on. With a little bit of backstory to it. This is way more backstory. It's way more got the plot thread to it, but it really does focus in on a different person and their story. If you don't know the premise of this, it's about what if conspiracy theories are true. I'm going to spoil a little of issue 1. Basically, all conspiracy theories are true. The more people believe in them, the more true it becomes. And we get to see a personal example of that in this issue, and some of the larger entities that may actually want these conspiracy theories to exist. So, really great premise. Love the way it's done. We have some of this left. Issue 3 was great. If you're reading this, you're really going to like it. So there we go. This is the B cover.
Sorrentino. Very cool.
Let's see. Department of Truth 1 in 10. $15. 1 in 10 variant. And this is the sort of like a Starman. I think our main character is suffering from remembering this conspiracy theory of his own. And then the 1 in 25 Henderson variant for $25.
Got some really scary variants.
Yep. So these, they kind of look the same, but yeah, I can't recommend this enough. If you were ever a kid who was interested in aliens, then you're going to like this.
I see Jared's asking if we have any more number 1s. We don't have any more number 1s out. But if there's any that you missed out on, a variant or something, come talk to me.
Yeah, we do have some of the variant available for number 1.
I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello. This is a one-shot that collects some older books that are hard to find. It collects 2 micro-series, one that was done by Image and one that was done by Mirage, and 1 macro-series, and they're all... They were series that focused on Donatello. Mm-hmm. And so finally IDW is like, let's put them all together. They previously did it with Raphael. Mm-hmm. That one's gone. That one sold really, really well. Yep. Just $5.99 for a whole lot of comic. And some issues that are just hard to find. And if you have them, you probably don't want to be like flipping through them because they're worth a little bit of money now.
It really
So-
warms my heart to open up a Ninja Turtles book and see like the Eastman and Laird art like on the first page. It's just something that's really heartwarming. It's so classic. It looks so good, and a lot of those are really hard to unless you got like the big deluxe editions or you have the very very expensive originals. It's not too easy to get those early stories.
Yeah, when I was bagging and boarding this, the cover, whatever they chose, the cover stock feels so nice. So I was like, "Oh, this is nice." And I opened it and I saw that art. I felt the same way. And I have to say, their art style lends itself well to certain things. In particular, I was looking at April O'Neil and her hair from back then. It's done in that old '80s perm style,
Mhm.
and their art is so perfect for all those curls and such. So
It's like he was working on that on the phone, and he just kept like doodling her hair and just kept going. And
Yeah.
looked back, he's like, "Whoa, I really
I
detailed
did
that."
good.
so just $5.99 for a great collection of old turtle stuff about Donatello.
So next, I'm going to talk about Kaiju Score. So this one, I feel like it went from we hadn't heard much about it to possibly there's a movie deal.
Yeah, it's Sony has optioned it. That is official. Before the comic came out, it is the first aftershock thing since they turned it into a production studio that got optioned before it came out. This says you hear it here. If you haven't heard anywhere else, then maybe you heard it here first. Sony's optioned it.
So what's interesting about this is, like in the name, there is kaiju. It's a little Ocean's 11 where you have your team of this guy who he's been out of the game, but he wants to go back in and make a big score. There's some prize artwork that's in the city, and he needs to put together a team of the best safecracker and the best, person in infiltration and all that. What makes it different is instead of there's the movie where there was a hurricane, I think it was called like Hurricane Heist or whatever, that they were going to rob a place when there was a big hurricane because the staff would be at a minimum and everyone would be distracted. In this world, there's kaiju, giant monsters that come out of the ocean, and their plan is we're going to rob this place while this kaiju is destroying a city. And it's super risky, but this guy thinks he's got a plan for it. And so he puts together his team, and it's kind of the by the end of it we go, here we go, we're gonna do this job. So like the book Megan talked about earlier, this is very adult. It's very adult language, but also, I mean, if the plot didn't give it away enough, it's got a really good sense of humor. I mean, already where you're like, we're gonna rob this place while there's this monster breaking through. It's cool. The artwork reminds me a lot of like Chew. It has a very
I see that from the cover.
yeah, like Rob
actually.
Gilroy style, cartoony, but not. I don't know. It would look really cool animated too. And also another part I thought was really cool is in the back it has a couple of extra pages that are like what to do at a kaiju attack, how to tell, what are the warning signs, and what did the different colors mean. When it's red, it means there's one within 50 miles of the coast, and you should seek cover, and all that kind of stuff. So it has a lot of the back matter too that really kind of like spices it up and makes it really fun.
I know this about kaiju. If their scales start glowing, they're going to do a lightning attack.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. There's going to be a beam that shoots up in the air or something. Yeah, I won't give it away, but there's like, oh, if it starts doing this, or we know something about this one special kaiju. There's even like a weather guy who's like pointing at a map, and you see it like coming out of the ocean like a tropical storm, and he's like, oh, looks like we got about 24 hours before it makes landfall. And so really, really fun, cool concept. And now that, I mean, if it gets a movie, it's gonna be like Ocean's 11 meets like Godzilla or like
Or
Pacific
Pacific
Rim, something like that.
Pacific Ocean's 11. something.
There's something there that needs to be a story arc or something. But yeah, so if you want to check that one out, we just have the one cover for it. And I think we still do have quite a bit, so act fast, because it probably will not be around long.
A few people have already asked for it, so we'll hook you up after the show.
You crazy, crazy people.
All right. Well, tomorrow is local comic shop day. What is that day? Usually it's been on a Saturday in the past, but because of COVID, they have decided to keep it on Wednesday, on New Comic Day. That way, people who are already coming out for their pull lists, here's your stuff as well. Special stuff for you to check out. So, for local comic shop day, it's just a day that brings recognition to shops who do stuff like this or who sell you comics. So we get special covers, and hopefully they're for some titles that you guys like. So we did not get a ton of these, so the quantities are for sure limited.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show a few of them, and then tomorrow we'll probably have some for the shelf, but we may not. So definitely let me know now if you want these. So for $6, we have Something is Killing the Children, #1 reprint with a foil cover. Just $6. That's the cover on this one. So if you like the series, then you probably want this cool version of it. Invincible #1.
Yay!
Andy is going to take all these away if you don't snag it now.
I do already have more than one.
So this is a reprint of Invincible #1.
It's a little bit different cover. They put like, it's hard to see on there, but like the background is a bunch of covers of Invincible 2 with like the chrome title and everything.
That's cool.
We also have Monstrous Talk Stories. So this is actually a new comic. The other cover without the foil comes out tomorrow, and it's a 2-part series, Monstrous Talk Stories. So this is $5. We also have a special X of Swords Destruction variant. This is, what's that artist's name again?
It's like Nico? Something like that?
Nikon, I think.
Yeah.
So this is the cover for X of Swords Destruction, which is the final issue in the X of Swords storyline.
It's a great one.
Ice Cream Man 20. I wonder if they planned this before Ice Cream Man 20, Dr. Seuss cover, had to go all to get those second, third printings. So this is the Green Eggs and Ham Ice Cream Man variant for issue 20. Local comic shop day again. This is special. This is cool. This is like $3. This is the Spawn 312 local comic shop day edition. And what is on here is the names of a ton of different comic shops that opted in to get their names listed on this issue. And I think we're somewhere around right here.
Yep.
So it actually has our shop's name on it. It has a bunch of shops' name on it. It's a really cool promo that Todd McFarlane did for this issue. Just $3 on that. Super cool.
We're going to have the special edition where we black out all the other names.
It's just
black
us.
buildings and then just us.
We have Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. These came out over the past 2 weeks. Show them off one at a time.
That's a Momoko.
Oh, wow. I can't. The foil is like. Okay, there we go. That's a good angle. So, Momoko foil version for Power Rangers #1, just $6. And then Mighty Morphin. So there's that. And like I said, these quantities are limited, so if you guys are watching this show, then you're definitely maybe going to be some of the only people who get these. So, and lastly, I showed this off earlier, but this is the black and white version of Other History of the DC Universe for just $7. So, lots of good stuff coming out tomorrow. Come see us if you haven't already, and get some cool
Local
stuff.
Comic Day is great because it's like, we're going to celebrate you by making you do more work. And we like it. I like a lot of these covers.
All right, Jason, what else? What did
The
you
last one that we're going to talk about today is X of Swords Destruction, which is the last part to the 22-part epic that Jonathan Hickman's been doing with a lot of help from Teenie Howard. So this is it. And I read it today. There are definitely a few things that happen in it that shake up and change the X-Men's universe. There's no major like first appearance or major like death or anything like that. But some stuff goes down with Apocalypse that will be lasting.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff goes down for Krakoa that will be lasting. It's hard to talk about the end of something without revealing much.
Yeah,
so,
especially a 2-part series.
On a scale of 1 to 10 of how much really changes based on it, I'd give it a 5. It's very, down the middle, but it was a very fun read the whole way through. A lot of thought in it. Some really great action in the last issue too. I'll say that the action in it's pretty amazing. And I can't believe what an arc they put Apocalypse on. I mean, he was pretty much the main character.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it gave me a lot of different thoughts and feelings throughout it. Here are the variants. This is the first variant.
That's the Dan Mora variant.
The Mora variant. And then we have the Momoko variant with the Summoner on there. Will the Summoner get his comeuppance? Just have to read. And then I'm going to take a quick aside. This is X-Men number 15, which also has a Momoko variant. This is part 21. I thought I'd slip that in there for those who care. Is this the connecting one?
That is the Laraz connecting variant.
Yeah, so this is the connecting one. Connects across all 22 issues. I don't think that's actually true. It connects across several, not all 22. And this is is it the U?
The U variant.
Most people's rooms aren't big enough to connect 22 issues.
You can
And
border your ceiling.
lastly, we have just a few of these. The 1 in 10 design variant for just $8. All right.
Cool. Yeah, I've got one more.
Go right ahead.
So, coming back to Netflix soon for season 2. Dark Horse is right here with The Witcher, Fading Memories. So this is definitely more based. Even says CD Projekt Red on there, who made the game. Definitely from the kind of the game universe of The Witcher. This is really fun because a lot like Hellboy, in the way of The Witcher kind of wanders into a town. The town has a problem. And he tries to solve it, and there's always some twists and turns here and there. Very much tonally like The Witcher. Dark, kind of depressing, but cool, full of cool monsters, fighting, interesting characters. So yeah, this is the start of I believe a 5-issue mini-series. So we've got the A cover, and then very limited, we have the B cover. Which that scene does happen in this. So, for all you Witcher fans.
All right, well, it's a pretty packed week this week.
Yes.
We had a lot to go over.
Yeah.
So, especially with the local comic shop day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, come get you some Thanksgiving reading, whether your plans got canceled or you need to avoid those awkward Thanksgiving family conversations. Guess what?
So weird.
Plug your nose into a comic book. We're open tomorrow, normal hours, 12 to 7. I'm probably going to do a surprise video.
Turkey.
No.
Oh.
A surprise video tomorrow morning where we talk about the sales that we're going to be doing for this weekend. If you guys are local, we are doing 50% off our back issues. We're doing $50 gift cards for just $40. And there's one more thing. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a table that has a bunch of discount board games and stuff we're just gonna mark down and put on this table. We've been stocking up on statues. I hope we have switchables in here by this weekend, but it won't be after. Anyway, definitely stop by. Just come every single day. You know what? I'm here every day.
You should be too.
You should come every day. Anyway, and if you're not local, we'd love to ship you some stuff. So hit us up and have an awesome Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Yep, thanks to everybody for joining us and all the comments that we get now and after the videos. We'd be reading these anyway, but it's great to get to share, what we read all together and with you guys early.
Yes.
So have a great rest of your day and a happy Thanksgiving.
Garrett wants to know if there's an Ollie restock.
Do we ever figure out how we're gonna get those?
Eric Hitchcock hit me up and said they had 11, and he was like, "Do you want to wait until we get the full thing?" I was like, "How much longer will that be?" And he said maybe 2 weeks. So that was about a week ago.